with B-Bad and Brandon. It took me a while.
Yeah, you got there.
Did anyone else... Are we recording?
Oh, we are?
Yeah,
okay.
Sick. No, this is how we start.
Okay.
Anybody see the story Johnny shared this week about the fork and the fork section, and it said Serction?
Serction?
Yeah, S-E-R-C-I... No, S-E-R-C-T-I-O-N.
Oh, fuck.
It was pretty funny. Jaylee pointed it out to me.
I did change that a few times because the black was over the thing. I couldn't fucking read it all. It was,
I thought it was great. I'm just like... Anyone been around Jongy long enough, you just learn how to speak Johnny.
Well, you'll work it out. Our followers will work it out eventually.
Yeah, they're like, oh, so, right. They get it. They've listened to us enough.
Yeah.
But seriously, forks in the fork drawer.
Well, see, this is a discussion.
Renee, you'll get this.
Yeah, but like I thought Johnny meant there's a separate drawer altogether for the forks, but he meant the fork section in the fork drawer.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, 'cause,
I'm with you now.
Yeah,
That's where you put the forks, right?
So I'm like, what are you talking about?
Is that where you put your forks? They all go together, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Then why do people not put dumbbells back where they belong? It's like putting forks in the spoon section.
Correct.
Also,
It's
I'm just
fucking
gonna.
stupid.
Yes.
And
Also,
anarchy.
Have you ever been to someone's house and they're like, "Where's the fork?" And they're like, "Oh, just in that cutlery drawer."
Yeah. Well, I'm going to start going to people's houses once I work out who does it here and put forks in their fucking spoon drawers.
Well, what about
and see how they like it.
what about the people who don't have dividers and they just have literally a drawer and it's all in?
Who does that?
They believe in chaos and anarchy.
No, that's not okay.
Thank you.
No,
And
you
that's-
need a drawer divider.
That's coming from someone a lot more responsible than us. A lot more.
We even run at home. We got 2 different colour forks and knives and spoons.
Okay, so here's the question. Do you use the same colour fork and knife?
Oh, no way. No, yeah, same colour for sure.
Yeah,
you have to.
absolutely.
And to the
Yeah.
point where you have them flipped around in the drawer. So the
Yep.
gold ones are down and the silver ones are up.
Good. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I'm glad
That
you
is
said that.
organised. Have you guys seen New Girl, the TV show?
Yes.
Yeah.
We actually started watching that again. Yeah.
I'm nearly finished it again.
Yes. Yeah.
Have you not seen New Girl?
I don't know this new girl. She's really new. I don't even know her.
It's a great
Who is she?
TV show. But yeah, I'm just like, you know the episode where Schmidt goes through his organisation around the election time and...
No, see, I'm probably only halfway through the first season again. And I've never watched it previously.
Oh, this is your first time?
Yes.
Oh
like,
my
I've
God.
watched episodes here and there, but not like
Continuously.
consistently. Yeah.
Oh, God, this is like my second time through. I know what's going to... Like, you've seen it. So Niall's seen it. Jace, have you seen New Girl? Okay. Look, probably...
He's in the same boat as Johnny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a new girl in town. But
I hope
anyway,
she's nice.
you know the scene... I can't ruin it for you.
Yeah,
Damn
no.
it.
No.
You can ruin
Leave
it for me.
Leave it.
But like, I know what's
you're
happening.
watching. Yeah.
And I still get emotional when it happened. And I was like,
Was it a sad one?
no, it's beautiful. It's amazing.
Am I going to cry?
Well,
Nah,
no,
I'll
you
watch it.
won't actually. You won't. I was like, I
Cold
realized
and heartless.
I'm not the one to base it off those. Stenzel and I often talk about we could cry in Disney movies. Actually,
Yeah,
no.
okay.
Stenzel, I'm going to out him on this podcast before he comes in. He's cried in a TV ad before.
What?
Yeah, bro. We're going to ask him that on the
Can you
podcast.
remember that?
I will, for sure.
He's in touch with his emotions.
There's a lot of them. Wow. Anywho, welcome to the Platform Podcast, Renee.
Thank you. Cue applause.
Yeah.
There is an
That was from
applause.
our big audience.
Hey.
We're like one of those live shows in the 70s that were filmed
Yes.
in front of a live audience.
Yeah.
We have a live audience. There's a
None
lot of
who are
people out
paying
there.
attention.
Whole 2 of them. Yeah.
But now, as an avid listener of the Platform Podcast, we know
Yeah.
that you listen to every episode and,
Yes, absolutely.
and that you know what's coming.
Yeah.
Yep.
We
I
have...
have no idea.
21 words, who you are and what you do, and we count the words and the sounds you make. He counts them.
In 21 words.
That's all you get.
We're a really short
And then the podcast is done. That's it. Wrap it up.
We can go home. Let's go.
Are you ready?
Hang on. Ask me the question again.
21 words, who you are and what you do. A lot of pressure.
21. And any sounds you make.
Oh, yeah, you make a sound, we'll count it.
Shit, I feel under pressure now.
Okay. Ready, set, go.
I'm Renee from Dauntless Performance, and I help women through strength training who have pelvic health considerations.
You got 6 words left if you want it.
No, can't do it.
It's pretty good.
That was actually pretty, yeah. Yeah, I like it.
Precise.
Yeah, it was.
Yes, I've been practicing for 12 months on that. That's my elevator pitch right there.
That was,
Damn.
That was really good.
That's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, thank you.
One of the, yeah,
I'm an overachiever naturally.
you were, that was 18 words total plus the laugh. You're looking at 21 exactly as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Thank
stoked.
you. Thank you.
Done. That's probably our best one yet.
I feel
better than
accomplished.
Luke's, that's for sure.
Fuck, Polly literally just went bright red in the face under the pressure, then cracked it, and then we had to start it again.
Did we start it 2 or 3 times?
We started about 2 or 3 times because, like, you're not going to say no, otherwise he'll just eat you. So it's like, whoa. Never seen someone crack under that pressure.
You need to start keeping a tally, a scoreboard,
Oh, who's the
a
best?
leaderboard.
I just want to know who's actually ever got, like, because some people talk so fast and I'm just like, what?
That's what these guys are for. They're your crew.
Our
Look,
backup crew.
We're going to
Yeah,
count
your
on
backup
Jason
crew.
a lot more than we would count on Niall.
Who's going to go through the past 90 episodes and get that leaderboard happening?
That's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, it is.
I'm gonna
Delegate that.
just say no.
Too hard.
So
That
it's
is-
Yeah.
a very specific role you're doing.
Yes.
How did that get started for you?
So I have always wanted to work with women in one way or another. And a little under 10 years ago, I fell in love with powerlifting and strength training. Then I decided to become a coach. And I think the two just kind of naturally came together. And then I started looking into working with women who were pregnant and postpartum. And I think that really kind of sparked a love of, I guess, seeking knowledge and understanding a female's anatomy and how it is impacted in those type of chapters of a woman's life. And then just kind of dialed into that specialty and really kind of pulled in things like pelvic organ prolapse, pregnancy, postpartum, pelvic pain, and then just kind of overarching pelvic health.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah.
So it goes clearly beyond just working with pregnant and
Yeah.
post-pregnancy.
Yeah, absolutely.
As well.
Yeah, there's a whole world out there. And it's really disheartening to think that there is a whole world out there of women with these considerations that don't feel confident enough to talk to someone about it. It's kind of pushed under the carpet. There's a lot of shame around it. There's a lot of misunderstanding and misinformation around it as well. And women just don't feel comfortable to tell their PTs or their coaches about it.
Do you think that has something to do with, like, obviously we've seen a change in the last, especially in the last, I think, 2 or 3 years, there's a lot more female strength coaches coming through, but
Yeah.
being such a male-dominated industry, I cannot talk
Dominant.
this week.
Dominant.
I told my chiro that this, and for everyone pointing to, I'm not watching, I'm pointing
He's
to
like-
my elbow, but I told her it was my wrist.
Oh.
I'm a good coach.
That could be your wrist. That's what you've called it.
Anyways, that's a rabbit hole we won't go down. But yeah, do you believe that is, like, obviously it's a male-dominant industry, like even looking at the S&C world, now we see coming of age even in big sports like the NRL, they've got the women's competition, even the WAFL, I think it's called,
Yep.
or AWFL.
Yep.
Like, have you seen that had an impact on the rise in strength coaches being female?
Yes, I definitely think there's a lot of women rising up as coaches in our industry. Even just the health and fitness industry in general, it's still very male dominated. And I think that's a big reason, because you have a lot of women don't feel comfortable telling their male coaches about stuff that's going on. But I also think it's that they're afraid that you won't understand either. I think the other thing that I hear a lot as well is I have a lot of women come to me who are like, I don't want to go down to the local gym because I'll get some PT who's an 18-year-old fresh out of his certs, and I can't tell him that I pee when I squat. So there's, it's not just misinformation and lack of information for the women who are experiencing this. It's also the coaches may not even know that this exists.
It becomes our responsibility almost, and
Absolutely.
Ownership has to go back on the coach to. No, I think it's like obviously not obviously. Fuck me. Someone just sent me to bed. But like, I know from my experience growing up with two sisters, I was a lot more comfortable talking about to a female client about things that I guess most males wouldn't be. But not everyone else has had that experience, and like pelvic floor stuff, and it's one thing I don't touch. You know, even pregnancy, postpartum, like we've had conversations, and I think I've even referred a client to yourself that it's just not my specialty, and there is thankfully people like yourself growing quickly in the industry and the space and becoming that prominent figure that women can go and talk to.
Yeah, but it's providing that safe space for women to feel comfortable enough to open up about it. It's not just a responsibility of knowing the information. It's about making them feel comfortable enough to open up and talk to you about what their considerations are, what their symptoms are, what their diagnosis is, and share that with you so that then you can incorporate that into their training.
100%.
Yeah.
You'd definitely be seeing some pretty cool changes with women once they've started coming to you and source your help. So imagine, would it be common to say that a lot of the challenges that they've had for a while, due to lack of either knowing who to talk to or confidence to talk to someone, they've probably had it for quite a while as well, right?
Yep. So I've worked with women who have either just recently been diagnosed with, say, for example, like a pelvic organ prolapse, or if we're talking about pregnancy postpartum, I think it's really cool. I have clients of mine who come to me who I'm literally either the first or the second person that they've told that they're pregnant. You know, I had a client walk in, she's if she hasn't already had her baby, she's about to have it, who walked in and they'd been trying for a little while, and she walked in and she's like, so I think I'm pregnant. And I was like, oh, and she's like, I haven't even told my husband yet. And I was like, oh my God. She's like, I literally just took a pregnancy test before I left home and I've got more in the car to double check, and you're like the first person I've told. And I was like, oh, okay, all right, no worries, cool, all right, let's take it in our stride and move forward. Like, it's cool to have that, I don't even know what you'd call it, but it's a privilege. It's a privilege to have these women share that information with you and be comfortable enough.
That's so exciting, though. I just got so excited after like hearing that.
Right? Yeah. So it's cool to have that. In terms of prolapse, I have women who've just been diagnosed or who've had.
Sorry, can you explain the pelvic
organ prolapse?
Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. So. Pelvic organ prolapse, or an acronym for it is POP, is a descent of your pelvic organs.
Right.
Okay. So Johnny just has the most shocked look on his face.
Can we get a zoom in on that? That's a look. That's a look.
So when it comes to pelvic organ prolapse, there is usually 3 types of prolapse. So you can have oh my God, I just had a blank. You can have a uterine prolapse. You can have a rectocele prolapse, which is a bowel. Or you can have a, I can't think of the other one. Basically, it's like a bladder prolapse.
Yep.
Okay, so there's 3 different types of prolapse.
Wow.
Now, it's not necessarily as scary as what you think it is.
And brought on for different reasons?
One of the biggest risk factors for prolapse is actually pregnancy and childbirth.
Yeah, right.
But there are other contributing factors. So just quickly jumping back for a minute, prolapses are, the common form is that they're graded. Okay, so you can have a grade 1, which is just a descent towards the vaginal opening, and then it goes 2, 3, 4, and a 4 is a full protrusion out external to the body. So 3 and 4 is usually surgical, needs surgical repair. A grade 1 and a grade 2, depending on what type of prolapse it is, the woman will usually be able to strengthen and keep it a consideration with physical therapy, so like physio and just being mindful of her training practices and all those sorts of things. So the biggest risk for a prolapse is pregnancy and childbirth. There are other risk factors as well, though, so things like if you can have a genetic predisposition to it. You can also have, if you have conditions where you have hyperflexibility or hypermobility, you can be prone to prolapse as well. Yeah. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah.
I could go down that rabbit hole.
Like training protocols, look, are in place. Like one, what do you modify, and then two, what are you doing to try and rehab? Is that, if that's the best word to?
Yeah. So I think
in.
the biggest thing to understand is that you can't reverse a prolapse.
Yep.
So that's a really big expectation that you need to establish with women, is that you can't. Once that descent starts happening, you can't reverse it. All you can do is manage it. Okay,
so they've got it forever.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yep. So unless it's like a stage 3
Your
or
faces at the moment are just great.
your mind is just
I'm learning
blown,
all about
right?
this.
Yeah. So unless it's like a stage 3 or stage 4, which
Yep.
is surgical,
Yep.
Even then they need to be really mindful about how they go about life after surgery.
Yep.
Protocols in terms of training is all just about it's understanding how breath has an impact on our pelvic floor.
Yep.
Understanding how pressure has an impact on your pelvic floor. So you'll take those two into consideration. It's a technique and the programming is going to be a massive impact on their training as well.
Yep.
So understanding that we actually need to start to strengthen those muscles, create endurance in those muscles, and coordination in the pelvic floor as well. So those three things, like any other muscle system in your body, need to come into play when we're rehabbing too. So a lot of the time what you'll find is that women would generally have a weakness in their pelvic floor if they're experiencing a prolapse. So we need to work with the physio in order to strengthen, maintain endurance and create that coordination as well.
Yep.
Then it's about gently creating, like any other strength building protocol, you are working with progressive overload.
Yep.
But that progressive overload is going to look so much more different than it would, say, like with a powerlifting program. Okay, it's just different. Yeah.
But they can still squat and all those kind of things, or am I thinking a bit sort of?
Yeah, yep. It
of the
would
box
just
there?
look different.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you have a woman who has a prolapse,
Yep.
you would most likely not necessarily get them to put like a lifting belt on, because that's
Yeah,
going to
okay.
put too
More
much
pressure.
too much intra-abdominal pressure onto their pelvic floor.
Yeah, of course.
It's got nowhere to go, and the weakest link is going to be that pelvic floor.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so it may just be chatting to that client or that woman to kind of go, okay, well, we may not.
That Niall.
We may not be able to do what you've always done.
Yep.
But it just needs to look different. You can still do it. It's
Yep,
just
yep.
going to be different.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Is that a common thing?
So common. Yep. So there's actually 1 in 3 women experience a pelvic
Wow.
organ prolapse.
At different grades?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
And how do you go about diagnosing that? Like, what are the symptoms that women can look out for, or go, shit, this could be happening to me? Yeah.
So the common symptoms for a prolapse range. One of the most common symptoms you'll either have a bulging. And that can be either in your rectum or in your vagina. You could have a sensation of feeling like something's falling out. So a sensation like a tampon's falling out, so you're not kind of going to be able to hold anything. Incontinence is a symptom of a prolapse. They're kind of the big three. There are other symptoms, but I would say that if any of the ladies listening feel that something doesn't feel right, and as a woman you know what it feels like in your vagina. So if something doesn't feel right, then I would say 100% of the time go and see a women's health physio.
Yeah, right.
I would absolutely go to them over a GP.
Yeah, right.
Because that's what they do.
Yeah.
And they'll be able
GP's
to.
not really.
They're just going to refer you to a physio.
They're going to do it anyway.
Yeah, or an
And it's
OBGYN. So I would.
General.
Yeah.
Isn't that what GP stands for?
General practitioner.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
They put the general in G.
Yeah, right.
They put the G in general, I think
Whatever.
you meant.
They put it wherever they want. They're very general.
They are.
Yes.
Yes.
So yeah, absolutely go see a women's health physio.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there many of them around?
Yeah. So They are starting to pop up a lot more. I would say even just in the last 12 months, I've seen a lot more, and I've seen a lot more women's health physios around. Probably 12 months to 2 years ago, it was like they were rare as hen's teeth.
Rare as what?
Hen's teeth. Have you never heard that?
No.
He's under 30.
Right, okay.
So he's
Us old people over here.
How old are you?
34.
Get fucked.
Brandon's
You're way
child.
younger.
Yeah. He's still in his teens.
Yeah.
Are you actually? Oh, there you go.
Yep.
You like?
Mid-30s, mate. Mid-30s.
But
Rare as hen's teeth, mate.
Brandon's mind's just been blown.
Yeah, he's blown.
Okay, it's like,
He's
what?
thinking, I haven't seen a hen with a teeth. That's why it's rare.
Holy shit.
This is a good point. I actually haven't. I was more shocked because I was like, I met Renee back in like 2012, 2013, and it looks like you haven't aged.
Thank you.
Anywho,
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Women's health specialist, right here.
Hey. But yes, they are, a couple of years ago they were very rare. Now they're more common.
Yep.
It's just finding a good one. And also, like, I'm assuming women who are listening to this will be have a passion for strength training and powerlifting. So the key is being able to find a women's health physio that advocates for strength training.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is what is hard.
I was going to say, could you then say maybe there's a few that don't advocate? They'd be like,
Yeah.
oh, well, you squat, bench, and deadlift. Well,
Yep.
you're not doing that anymore.
Which is really frustrating. A lot of them, which there's nothing wrong for it, but women who like strength training.
Yeah.
They're not going to do yoga and Pilates for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
You know, and the other thing is there's this big misconception, and this kind of leads into pregnancy and postpartum as well, in that if you're diagnosed with a prolapse or, you know, even in pregnancy, women are commonly told that don't lift anything heavier than 5 kilos. And you're like, oh, okay. So yeah, exactly.
Or pick up your child.
Exactly. How am I meant to pick up a laundry basket of wet clothes?
Yeah.
How am I meant to console my child who is like a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old or, you know, a child? How am I meant to console them if they want to be picked up and cuddled? So I think that's the big thing that I'm really passionate about. Is it's like women are going to do these things anyway because they have to, because they're mothers, because they're wives, because that's the role. And don't even get me on that as like a society thing, but because that's the role that we feel we have to play. So we're going to do these things anyway. So we might as well teach these women how to do them safely and give them strategies in order to do that.
Absolutely.
Women, if they've been diagnosed with a prolapse or they're pregnant or they want to return to training postpartum and they love strength training, they're going to do it anyway. So we might as well teach them how to do it safely for the chapter that they're in their lives.
100%. I like the way you really explain that. Like, you can't stop someone from doing it. Well, let's just educate them better.
100%. And it's important to remember as well that it's always going to be their decision of what they do. It's always going to be their decision. If they've been diagnosed with prolapse or they're pregnant, it's always going to be the client's decision as to whether they want to continue lifting or not, or they want to continue doing a specific exercise.
Yep.
Our job as coaches is to provide them with knowledge and information and education so that they can make an informed decision.
Have you seen like women come to you and say, hey, look, doctor said I can't do this. I need to not do this. And then you're like, well, hang on. Maybe there's some other options here other than not.
Yep.
Let's get another opinion.
Yeah.
'Cause that sort of stuff's heartbreaking for that poor
Absolutely.
lady who hears that.
Yeah. I've actually had a lady, a client come on just recently, and she was only recently diagnosed with a grade 1 prolapse.
Yep.
So, cool, awesome, this is manageable, let's get some physical therapy in there. And she was diagnosed with grade 1. She was like, oh, cool, no worries, I still want to continue strength training, so I'm just going to go to the gym and do some things. Anyway, she was talking to me about her experience and her journey, and she mentioned to me that all of a sudden, after a deadlift session, she's like, I just felt that it was different. It felt different. And I was like, okay. And then she went to, this was before she came to me, she went back to her doctor and got it checked again, and had gone from a grade 1 to a grade 2, which means it had descended further.
Yep.
So she stopped all training altogether, and her GP was basically like, can't pick anything up more than 5 kilos. How about you do yoga? Let's do Pilates. You can do swimming, just go for walks. And this is a woman who loves training at the gym, loves strength training. And I think I sat on the phone for her maybe an hour just talking to her. And a big part of it was basically kind of saying exactly what I just said. You're going to do this shit anyway. So let's teach you a couple of strategies so that you can do it in a safe manner. Because it's not just a physical thing for these women, it's a holistic wellness thing for these women. It incorporates their mental health, not just their physical health as well, which I feel happens... Excuse me, I just spat everywhere.
Sorry, we didn't see it.
Yeah, good.
Could have gotten away with it too.
Oh, it just zoomed in.
So it's
on the camera actually. That big green
shit.
boogie.
Yeah, it's just gonna. Yeah, thanks. It's just gonna zoom in on that. Yeah, so it's about, and as I was talking to her, I was just explaining to her that we just need to bring things right back, start again, and implement the right technique, implement the strategy that works for her, and you're going to get back to doing what you love. But like I said before, it's just going to look different to what it was, 12 months ago.
That's another question.
But she's gone from having a world crush to a...
Absolutely, and she was telling me that her mental health was just declining. Yeah.
So different, you said before, like, we'll find the strategy right for her. Do different things work for different people?
Yes. Yeah, and different, so when I talk about a strategy takes into account breath, pressure, tension, and positioning.
Right.
Okay, and then all of those come together to make movement. Okay, so a woman's strategy is going to be different from the next one. Okay, and it's going to be different for different exercises as well. So what might work in a squat isn't going to work in a deadlift. What might work in a bench isn't going to work in a row.
Yep.
Okay, so different things work for different women and different things work for different exercises. So you can have an overarching strategy, but we might need to adjust that depending on what you're doing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And that'll just take just a bit of time, you working with that client, and just kind of work out what is working best for them individually.
Yep, trial and error. And it also depends on, if you bring the pregnancy aspect into it, it's going to depend on where they are in their pregnancy. So first trimester, second trimester, third trimester, or they're about to give birth, it all depends. So that strategy is for pregnant women, that strategy is going to change as they progress through their pregnancy.
And then post as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you put like a real life example around that strategy?
Yeah. So the one that comes to mind for me is I had a client who was pregnant. I think Bubby's nearly 6 months old now. Holy shit. And we were trying to figure out her deadlift strategy. Yep. So she was wanting to deadlift it for as long as possible. I think halfway through, we ended up having to change that and go from a barbell to a trap bar, just because it was better to do that for her long-term athleticism than try and change her technique in her deadlift, and her belly was growing and it would have changed her technique too much.
It would almost get in the way, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we changed over to a trap bar deadlift so that we weren't mucking up her deadlift technique.
Yep. In
terms of a strategy, what we were finding for her was that we obviously tweaked her positioning to make sure that she to the best of her ability, was able to maintain a neutral positioning in terms of her pelvis and all that sort of stuff. Then in terms of breath and pressure, what we were doing for her was that she would take a big breath in before she started the rep. She would pull from the floor holding her breath until she got to her knees, and then she'd let that air out through pursed lips. So she was managing that breath.
Yeah, right.
And that pressure.
And that's just allowing some of the pressure off as she gets closer to finish.
Yep, absolutely. So that's just honouring that intra-abdominal pressure, honouring the fact that if she was to hold her breath through that whole rep, there would have been way too much going on in her belly, which would have, her pelvic floor at that point in time was the weakest link, so that would have been putting pressure on her pelvic floor.
Yep. Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Really very educational. I feel like I'm not I feel like I'm not the host, but listening to it.
I feel like we're in the lecture. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I know.
And like, how close up to pregnancy would you train these people?
It really depends on the mum to be.
Yep. What she wants and what she feels like she can do.
Yeah, and how she's feeling within herself.
Yep.
I think that particular client, she was experiencing really low iron levels. She was struggling a lot with energy. So we ended up pulling a lot of her training back quite early.
Yep.
I had another client, the one that's just about due. She trained up right until Christmas, so I think she's only taken off the last 6 weeks from training.
Yep.
But we've adjusted her training a lot, so she just only ended up doing a lot of light dumbbell stuff.
Yep.
But she was still moving. She was still doing some sort of strength training that was relevant to where she was at that point in time.
Yeah. And like you said, mental for their mental.
Yeah.
So they don't go mental.
Yes.
Just the process of coming to the gym, working with someone yourself, chatting to them, and just feeling like they're doing something's got to be great, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think it's got to depend on, this is going to sound really weird to say, but it depends at what point in the year you're pregnant as well. Like, summer is shit to be pregnant. It's hot. You're feeling uncomfortable anyway, let alone growing a human being on top of that, right?
Yeah.
So you can understand why some women are just like, nah, I'm out, see you later, just spending my days in the aircon.
Yep.
So yeah, all sorts of things taken into consideration.
Yeah, again, a real individual approach on what they can and can't do.
Yeah, absolutely.
I always think it's cool because like you see a lot of really athletic women still training right up until the days before.
Yep.
And what do you think of, because you'll always get one or two people get on the Instagram threads and just hate on them. Like, that's got to be really disappointing to see that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just about hoping that athlete has the knowledge and information to be making an educated decision at that point in her life.
Yeah.
And honouring her long-term athleticism. Is that going to benefit her postpartum and being 3, 6, 12 months, 2 years postpartum? And you would like to think that athlete has a team around her who is supporting her to make those decisions, whatever that decision may be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I guess through that process of pregnancy, there could be things that you do that have a lasting negative impact down the track.
Absolutely. And I think that's the big thing, is that we need to make sure that not only coaches but athletes, and when I say athletes can be anyone from the mum that comes in that just wants to do her body weight session to an elite athlete who might be a powerlifter. We need to understand, and we need to make sure that these athletes understand that their bodies are changing, and so their training should change to honour that. But at the end of the day, it's always going to be their decision.
So I think I'm trying to recall, but training throughout pregnancy, I think I've read that it's actually more beneficial for recovery post-pregnancy. Correct? Not correct? I'm just an idiot.
No. There are a lot of benefits to training during pregnancy.
Yeah.
And it's mental and physical as well. So it's twofold. In terms of returning to training postpartum, I think we need to be mindful about how we put that information out there and how we educate women on that. I think we need to be mindful that a woman's body goes through physical trauma during childbirth. It doesn't matter whether the baby's delivered vaginally or via C-section. A woman's body is going through so much trauma, and that should be honoured on the other side of that, postpartum.
Absolutely.
Okay, so think about it in the same way as if you were to have shoulder surgery. You're not going to come back into training 6 weeks later or even 2 weeks later and bust out a 1RM for your bench press, right? You're going to rehab.
He will try.
No, it's very general.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe some of us might try it.
He'll just put it in a bench shirt and go for it.
You've got to test it.
Yeah.
Make sure it
You just got to make sure they did it right. Hey.
Exactly. There we go.
Yeah.
This is exactly what it's like trying to coach Johnny.
Science. Science.
But yeah, basically we just need to remember that it's a rehab process, particularly for a woman's abdominal muscles and her vagina and her pelvic floor. Okay, there's a rehab process that has to happen. That's just the physical aspect of it. You have to take into consideration as well that this woman is, whether it's her first or her fourth baby, she's trying to settle into life with a newborn.
As well, yeah.
Okay, so her as her body isn't necessarily going to be her own. Okay, baby will want to be close to mum because that's all it's known for the last 9 months. Okay, whether she's breastfeeding or bottle feeding, there's a lack of sleep going on, there's adjustment periods happening. There's this her whole world has just been turned upside down. Okay, so there's a mental aspect to that as well. We have to honour that holistically. So I think it's about allowing these women some grace and some compassion and some time to be able to adjust to their new life instead of telling them that they have to lose this baby weight two weeks after they've given birth. Right? So, and that's a whole nother can of worms sitting right there.
People say that.
Fuck yeah.
Wow.
You can say fuck.
Yeah.
You say what you like on here.
Okay.
You can say whatever you want here.
I think that's the shitty thing.
Disappointing.
Yeah, it is. And it comes back down to mainstream media, the health and fitness industry, the expectations of what a woman should look like in this day and age. And it's shit. It's so shit. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's journey post should be like the same. It's individual, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
their path to getting back to training, if when they decide,
Yep.
will be their way of doing it.
Yep. We need to encourage more realistic expectations.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly
Does
right.
it annoy you? Because I know even in our line of work, if someone comes in, they've told me they've had kids, and then my first question is, C-section or natural birth.
Yep.
And then even this week when I've had new clients come in, 9 times out of 10, when I ask the question, was there, post rehab?
Yep.
Their answer is no. Why? Why is that such a non-existent thing at the moment? Because I feel like
that is
like you said, it's a massive traumatic event.
Fuck.
Do you think there's not enough education?
Just based
for
off
it?
what you said, we do need to honour it, and I'm of the opinion that we do need to, but there's things that even if they want to get back under a bar, this has got to take into consideration. Your abs are going to separate, and nothing's going to be the same.
Yep.
As you said, it's a traumatic experience, but
Yep.
is it a thing that the women have to sort out themselves? Because I personally thought it was post childbirth. There was physio on staff that kind of looked, but it's not that.
No. So, from my understanding and from the women that I've spoken to, what happens is if they've delivered in a hospital, what will happen is a couple of days after birth, the hospital physios will come around to the room. They'll do a quick check of the diastasis, so ab separation. They'll be like, oh yeah, you got 1 or 2 centimetres separated or whatever it is. That's fine, that's normal, you're right to go, don't forget to do your pelvic floor exercises, see you later.
Yeah, right.
And that's it.
And that's it.
But a 1 to 2 centimetre separation is still a big deal.
Yes, but it's manageable. But again, it depends. It depends on not just the width, but the depth of the diastasis as well,
right,
and how that's managed. And just because I have that 2 days or a day after giving birth doesn't mean that they can't do damage to that in the coming weeks, because their body's still healing. So they could be doing ab exercises, or they could be going straight back into doing strength training, and they can actually create more issues because they're not doing an exercise optimally for them, so they can be adding to that.
When's your recommendation then to start that rehab process? Would you wait that couple of weeks for the body to heal?
Yeah. So my recommendation to my ladies is generally allow yourself a minimum of 6 weeks.
Right.
And like I mentioned before, it's about the fact that your entire world has just changed. You have this new little bundle with you. Spend time with Barb and connect with Barb and be in your little love bubble. Don't rush back into things too quickly. When you feel like, your brain will always be ready before your body will be. So if your brain is feeling ready, like it wants to do some movement, okay, cool, no worries. Acknowledge that and honour that, and start just doing some gentle body weight movements. but nothing too crazy. So just start getting your hips moving again, connecting back with your pelvic floor, doing those sorts of things and just honouring that. Then see how you feel. Do that for at least a couple of weeks, if not a month. And then maybe about that, 10 to 12 week mark, if you're ready to get back into training, reach out to someone who knows what they're doing. And then we can start to introduce things back again. But it's about, again, getting that strategy back into play, because that will have changed after childbirth. These women are trying to figure out what the heck's going on with their body again, because they've just spent 9 months growing a baby. So their bellies, they don't have a belly anymore. So they're trying to figure out how they're moving in time and space again. So...
Yeah, that's a really good point, eh?
Yeah.
Last time they trained, they had something sitting out here.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Yep. And now it's significantly reduced. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I would at a bare minimum wait 6 weeks before you start. And the thing is, like, going back to your question about like a rehab phase and getting back into training. In a perfect world, these women should have a pelvic floor assessment, another diastasis assessment, just a general overall health and wellbeing assessment around that 6 week mark. And in a perfect world, in a perfect medical system, that should be happening by their GP when bub goes in to get vaccinated, if that's what mum's choice is.
Yep. That's something a GP could do?
That's what they should be doing. But they're not. All of the women that I've spoken to, or it's very rare anyway, I shouldn't make gross generalisations, it's very rare that a GP will do that. So these women are taking bub to the clinic, bub's getting vaccinations, and that's it. Mum's not even getting a look in. So if they want any help with pelvic floor or diastasis or anything like that, they need to be seeking out a women's health physio on their own accord. And a lot of women don't even know that women's health physios exist.
That was my
So we're getting into like this whole catch-22. Exactly. Exactly.
So there'll be plenty of women that don't know they need this, and no one's offering to help.
Yep. I had one of my clients, and this just breaks my heart, one of my clients, she had a pelvic floor check when her baby was a couple of months old. I would say maybe minimum 6 months, maybe max 3 months old. Then she was coming along to some sessions with me, and she was coming along to a group training session, and she was stuck around at the end of the session, and she's like, I just want to have a chat to you about some stuff. Yep, cool, no worries, what's going on? And before she even got the words out, she just broke down in tears. And her question to me was, what does a prolapse feel like? And so we sat and we talked and, held space for her and answered any questions that she wanted answered, referred her to a women's health physio. And her original check, the physio was like, yep, all good, no worries, see you later, have fun with that. And then she went back again when bub was 6 to 9 months old, and this second physio, completely different, diagnosed her with a prolapse. And it's stuff like that where, it can go undiagnosed, it can go misdiagnosed, and it's just, it breaks my heart. Yeah, and these women don't know that they need it, or that they should be getting it checked, or they just live with their considerations and their symptoms. Women feel like it's either a badge of honour or it's an accepted part of being a woman that you experience incontinence. And it's not. It's not something that you have to live with. You can work with someone to either manage those symptoms or get rid of them altogether. Could just be something simple.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Switching gears just a little bit and talking about actually probably a good segue, and relating it back to, I guess, our sport-specific powerlifting, and the incontinence is such a big thing. Yep. The one question I had from, because obviously I spoke to a client saying, oh yeah, we got this chick coming in, she's awesome, but their question is, why does it happen?
Why does incontinence happen?
Yeah, on the platform.
Okay. So, really simple answer to that. is that basically there is a build-up of intra-abdominal pressure. Same thing again, like we've been talking about all morning. There's a build-up of intra-abdominal pressure, particularly with the lifting belt, that's going to increase. Now, as power lifters, what we know is that we need to increase that intra-abdominal pressure in order to create stability in our lifts, right? So as a lifter, you're seeking that increased intra-abdominal pressure. Now, someone who might have either a weak or a non-relaxing pelvic floor, that is going to be the weakest link. That pelvic floor is going to be the weakest link. So when you put a belt on and you do that big breathe and that big brace, and you're not doing it correctly, you're directing that pressure, bearing it down, and the weakest link is in that pelvic floor. So then it's basically, it can't do its job. And there might be two reasons as to why it's not, it might be that it's weak and it's the weakest link, or if you've got a non-relaxing pelvic floor, what will be happening is that it's tight, and then when you need it to do its job, it can't because it's been doing its job all day. Right. So it basically gives out.
Yeah, wow.
There you go.
Damn. And is there some specific stuff the ladies could be doing, training related or for that?
Yeah, so it depends on whether it's
individual, probably again.
Yeah, again, it is really individual. If it's a weakness, then obviously it needs to be addressed. It needs to be strengthened. Endurance and coordination need to be developed. If it's a non-relaxing pelvic floor, then basically we need to learn to relax it, which can be harder than what you think it is. And it's understanding that as women doing strength training, that's going to be quite prevalent because we are working those muscles in and around our legs and our hips a lot. All right. So
especially in a sport like this.
Yeah. So you've got your glutes, you've got your adductors, you probably have a tendency for women to be clenching their glutes a lot if they're not working their glutes. You've got your posture, you've got tension. So when we get under the barbell, we're creating, in the sport of powerlifting, part of it is that we're trying to create so much tension as well, and that contributes to the pelvic floor as well. If you're someone that has a tendency to hold tension in your body, your pelvic floor is probably going to be holding tension too.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Makes sense.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, because you see it's so common. Like, it does happen a fair bit, which is cool.
That's the thing. It is so common, but it shouldn't be.
No.
You don't have to live with it. And I think a lot of
and nor should it be a badge of honour. I think that's the thing that frustrates me as well.
Yeah. That's what
it's like there's no shame around it, but don't wear it as a badge of honour.
Yeah. If it's something that's happening
get it looked at.
consistently, then maybe there's an opportunity there.
Yeah, something's going on. It needs to be addressed.
Yeah. And then seeing someone like yourself or women's health physio.
Yeah, or both.
Or both is
just
the
see Renee.
path.
Shameless plug.
Yeah, right. Shameless
on
plug.
her behalf.
That's what I'm here for. Yeah. But I think
Absolutely.
it's important to understand that gold standard is going to be a women's health physio.
Yep.
And I think understand that should you feel comfortable, a women's health physio is most likely going to do an internal exam.
Yep.
Okay, that's gold standard of diagnosing any considerations with the pelvic floor. Where I kind of come in is that in a perfect world, I will be working alongside you and your women's health physio.
Excellent.
Okay, it's the same as any other injury, any other consideration. People, athletes, clients are going to see their coaches more often than they're going to see their physios. So if you can have the working relationship, that person's going to come to you more than they're going to go to the physio. The physio is someone that they check in with maybe once a month or once a fortnight. They're going to come to you once, if not a couple of times a week.
Yeah, I like how you sort of explained it a bit, saying it's no different to having any other injury that you might potentially have.
Yeah.
You just got to work with some people and you can get the thing sort of fixed up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And improved on, which is unreal.
Yep.
So I think you do, like you said, you see a lot of women, it happens on the platform, but it happens all the time for them. But it's exciting. Maybe they don't know there's a pathway to address it, but it's exciting to know that there's people out there like yourself trying to push that for them.
Create an awareness for it.
Yeah.
And if women do want to reach out, find out more information, or what do you, firstly, where can they find you, but also what other resources do they have?
other resources they have.
Yeah, or other resources you have to be able to give to women.
Yeah. So I have a couple of ebooks that their women are welcome to download. So I've got one on training during pregnancy.
Right.
And I've also got one on incontinence during strength training. I am in the process of developing one about returning to strength training postpartum. So it's kind of halfway done. But otherwise, if they want to reach out to me personally, they can find me on Facebook or Instagram, just Dauntless Performance.
Yep.
Or they can jump on my website and have a look, and they can book a call.
Yeah, sweet. We'll chuck up all those links to download those ebooks in our show notes.
Cool.
And then we'll chuck up the bio in our Instagram as well when this episode comes out.
Yeah.
Be sick.
Awesome.
But we do have 10 really important questions for you.
Sure. Shoot.
They're more important than the first one.
Are you ready?
I feel like I am.
What makes you
Probably not.
unique?
What makes me unique?
Yes.
Fuck. That's really hard.
I know.
Oh
I
my
had to
God.
answer this on Wednesday.
Holy
Wednesday.
shit.
Tuesday.
Good
Who
question.
creates these questions?
Me.
Oh, what makes me unique? Can I pass?
We can revisit.
Yes, let's revisit. Otherwise, I'm going to be sitting here for ages in silence.
Who is the special people in your life?
If I don't mention Kurt first, I'm going to be in trouble. So Kurt,
Who else would have been first?
Yeah, like who's really first?
yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
nah, it is Kurtie.
But then who's a close second?
I don't know, I had a few people run through my head. I would say definitely both of our parents. They've been a massive support for us in the last few months, and we couldn't have done life without them.
Shout out mum and dad.
Shout out mum and dad. Shout out to the in-laws. And I think obviously a couple of close girlfriends. They're kind of my other support network. And then the doggos have to be in there too.
That's number one.
Yeah, can't do life without the doggos.
What's something you're most proud of?
I am most proud of how far I've come with my business and what I and that offers to the world. Yeah.
Fuck, that was a good
Absolutely.
answer. I'm not even
Fuck,
going to lie. Yeah,
that's
that was
really good.
Because I remember you started at World Gym Ipswich, didn't you? Or World Gym...
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, that's
That's
yeah.
amazing.
Don't go down that path. Yeah, don't go down that road.
Don't go
one,
Globo. Don't go Globo.
No.
If you could star in a movie, what would it be and who would you be?
Can we pass on that one too?
Oh,
That one's
can-
too hard.
What's your most used emoji?
The two pink hearts.
Ah,
Yeah.
lovely. What is your favourite dinosaur as a kid?
I wasn't a dinosaurs kid.
Really?
Well, no, hang on.
Yeah.
The first thing that came to mind would have been a triceratops.
They are a nice dinosaur.
Yeah.
If you could find out how and when you die, would you?
Oh. I feel like I would not want to, but then I feel like curiosity would get the better of me.
good. Yeah, good response.
Yeah.
Good.
Fence sitting.
Yes.
What age do you feel this very second?
Oh, fuck. After having moved house, I feel
Oh.
like I'm 50.
How fucked is moving house?
Oh, mate.
In this heat?
Moving house and a business over the space of 4 days. Yeah, nah,
That's
not
a
cool.
no from me. If this was The Voice, I wouldn't turn around.
What pet did you have growing up? Or pets?
Oh, we had
Rabbits?
dogs, we had birds, we had rabbits. Yeah, we had rabbits. We were.
That's a bit naughty. if you're in
Yes.
Queensland.
Yes, we went rogue. We crossed
Yeah,
the
you
border
did.
and got rabbits and smuggled them back in.
Damn.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Please
proud.
don't come and arrest me or my parents.
What's the best thing that happened to you last week?
We bought our house.
Yeah, you
we
did.
settled our house.
Oh, congrats.
Our first home.
What makes you unique?
What makes me unique? This one's really hard.
I know. I'm really proud of it.
You need to make it the last question, not the first.
No, but then we don't then we'll be here for another 3 hours.
Yeah. I think. I feel like every other person everyone in my close support network is gonna be like, "Come on, Renee, you fucking know the answer." Am I allowed to just make a really general, broad comment?
You can do whatever you want. It's your podcast.
And kind of say, I do my best to be a genuine, authentic person that honours myself and my own personal boundaries. But I would also like to say that I do my best to allow other people to do that as well, and allow and empower other people to do that too.
Damn.
It's funny because you said it's so general, but
Have you got allergies? Are you tearing up?
I know that was beautiful.
Oh, yes!
Wait, it was beautiful. Where's Stenzel? He's more emotional.
I'm not crying.
I'm not crying. You're
There's
crying.
fucking allergies.
It's that doggo. But seriously, like you said, that's so general, but that's probably one of the most unique things in this day and age. That was beautiful.
Thank
It was
you.
beautiful.
We still got another question though.
I know. Shit, what was that? The movie one.
Maybe one, mate. What movie are you going to star in, and who are you going to be?
So it's like a movie that's probably already out. What's your favourite movie and who would you be in it?
What's my favourite movie?
I don't know.
I reckon one of my go-to movies of all time would be Avatar.
Ooh.
Really?
Yes.
Would you be a blue person or a...
Yeah, the blue chick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I love Avatar because of all of like the AWA stuff in it, like being so connected to nature.
I hated the movie.
Really?
Couldn't get it.
Oh, nah. That's like my feel-good
And it was
movie.
3D. It was
We
awesome.
we just got a call from Niall saying it was shit.
Really? Oh.
I couldn't watch it. I'm so sorry.
Okay. Well, that's okay. You're allowed. You
Oh,
do
yeah,
you,
100%.
boo.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, but like,
You're not in Renee's movie. You're not invited.
No.
no, I just like
No.
no offense, but I wouldn't want to be. We can't say anymore because our next guest just rocked up and she cannot know the next question.
Yes.
That's it.
That was it. We did all 10 questions though, didn't we?
Nailed it.
Yes.
You nailed it.
Holy shit, they were Big 10. I can't believe it took 2 hours to get through them.
Shit.
She's not even listening.
Don't
No.
forget to breathe, Lil.
No, you missed the joke.
It was a good joke.
But thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Now, if
pleasure.
anyone does have any more questions, they can definitely reach out to us and we'll connect you with Renee.
Yeah.
Otherwise, reach out to yourself via Dauntless Performance
Yep.
on Instagram
Yep.
or Facebook.
Facebook. Yep. Email. Whatever.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Slip into those DMs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we say slip into the DMs.
Right.
Just because I fucked it up once, eh?
One of us did. I think you.
I think it was me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As opposed to what? Slide.
Slide,
Right. Okay.
and then
See,
DMs.
that's how. Yeah. That's yeah.
We start things.
We slip
I'm over
into the
30,
DMs.
mate.
He's
I don't know the
nearly
terms.
40.
You're late 30s. I'm still mid.
Yeah. I'm claiming that.
I'm under 30, so fuck you
Yeah,
both.
you're a kid.
I think everyone here is under 30 now. Except Niall. He
Us
looks,
old timers.
Niall looks like an
Back in
angry
our
old
day,
man.
I remember when I was that young.
Yeah, you can say that too.
Yeah.
But anyways, thank you
Thank-
so much for your time this fuck
Sucks.
me. Don't worry about
We're
it.
out. We're done.
Yeah, we'll just clap.